It's not impossible for you to hit 10K per month in the next 12 months with your online coaching business. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down a timeline of what it's going to look like and what needs to happen during this next 12 months for you to hit those numbers within your business. And ultimately, I'm going to be answering the question of, okay, is it possible to hit 10K per month in the next 12 months? And how long on average really does it take for somebody to hit that 10K? And that's probably one of the biggest questions on your mind. So I'm going to answer that right off the bat. On average, what we've noticed after working with hundreds of coaches and after running multiple businesses myself, it actually takes around 2 years on average for people to hit that consistent 10, 15, 20K per month. And there are reasons which we'll explain for that later on in the video. But in the next 12 months, like in a year, it's possible for you to hit your first 10K per month. And what I'm going to do is explain what needs to happen in that first 12 months in order for you to, in 12 months time, hit 10K and keep 10K rolling in every single month. Now, bit of a disclaimer, I'm not making any financial claims. I'm not saying that this is going to be easy. I'm not saying that, just from you watching this one video, you're going to be able to go and pull in £120,000 or dollars per year. Absolutely not. It's going to take work. It's probably going to take more nuance. That you're probably going to have to watch other videos on this channel or, get a little bit more help with your business in order to learn and understand and overcome the problems that you've currently got, because problems are specific to you. So the reason why I've laid this timeline out is so that you can actually pick, actually, this is what I'm missing. Because as I go through this timeline, I'm going to kind of lay out the perfect track and the perfect, run of what needs to happen in that first 12 months for you to hit that 10K. And if you're missing any of these elements, then you actually need to make sure that you go back and solve these problems so that your business can release those constraints and move forward. So your first 90 days, if you're past your first 90 days, stay with me here, because it might be that you haven't done some of these things and haven't mastered some of these elements. So you're going to need to go back and do that. First things first is your offer. I'm not going to bang on about this too much, but your messaging and the combination of words that you articulate your offer by is more important than people give it credit for. It is the biggest lever that you can pull when it comes to making reels, running ads, making long form content, messaging people in the DMs, creating free guides. It's a fundamental of the business that a lot of people kind of set up once, or they'll get an offer document off a mentor, they'll fill it in and never look at it again. And then they just kind of go about their business and wonder why things don't work. Well, it might be because you have the incorrect positioning with your offer. It's not so much that your offer is bad, it's just that the way that we're articulating it isn't exactly what it needs to be. Next thing is network sales. In your first 90 days, you need to convert people that you already know, because guess what? In order for somebody to become a client, you have to build know, like, and trust, and that can take time with complete strangers. The people that are already in your network, such as your friends, colleagues, even family members, they already know, like, and trust you enough to hand you over money for your services and for you to change their life with your coaching offer, okay? After that is content. You need to get the basics of content down. You need to make sure that you've got a consistent daily flow of content going out there. You need to make sure that you're posting the correct content, right? And what I mean by that is most people, when they post content, they're trying to solve a problem within their business. And the two problems that can really exist that content can solve, number one is not enough audience members and not enough reach. Number two is not getting enough clients or engaged leads coming onto phone calls with them. So it's really important that you identify which one of those problems that you have. Is it audience or conversion? And then make content in congruency with what you need to work on. It's really important. Next is outreach. So I know, guess what? You're going to have to talk to some people in the first 90 days. It's just going to have to happen. Number one, because you need to get a better beat on actually the type of people that you're going to be working with, and understanding your niche and your market a little bit better so that you can re-articulate your offer in a more powerful way. And honestly, if you just do these things and get them right, it's not going to take you too much time. You're not going to be on your computer for 6 hours per day. This is maximum sort of 2 to 4 hours per day maximum. Just like Zach. Zach is one of our clients. He, after sort of, I think it was like 2 months, it was under 90 days, handed in his notice. He hit his first 4K month as an online coach just because we got these 4 things right. And now what he can do is he can move on to his next steps. Now, the sort of 3 to 6 month mark, you're going on this rocky cutscene of getting your offer and re-articulating it to the point where people resonate and they're into it. From there, you're making sure that you're getting some network sales, you're making sure that you're doing content, you're making sure that you're actually getting calls on your calendar through your outreach. The 90 to 180 day period, that is your Rocky cutscene to get extremely and ruthlessly consistent with this, to the point where you're making that consistent 3 to 5K per month. Again, you don't need to be spending more than 2 to 4 hours per day doing this necessarily. And if you've got the right systems in place, you can spend even less time on that. But again, if you're just wanting to get to that 3 to 5K, this is all you've got to focus on to begin with. Again, one of our clients, Tom, he was with us for, I think, a month. He managed to close 3.5K in his first month. And we'll talk a little bit more about his story as we go on from there. Now the juicy part. You're like, oh my God, just tell me how to get to 10K per month. What has to be involved? Look, if you don't have these fundamentals down, it's going to be really difficult for you to actually progress to 10K per month and use the content ecosystems that we talk about, on this channel. In the previous videos, we've spoken about how, the content and outreach, it's exhausting. It's not very scalable. And that's the truth. What gets you to 3 to 5K in your first 6 months won't be the things that get you to 10K in your following 6 months. So if you're at the 6 month mark now and you're like, okay, maybe you've had your first 3 to 5K month, and now you're wanting to progress from there, but you don't know what to do next, likelihood is what you will end up doing is just plateauing at sort of 3, 4, 5K per month. And you might have been there for a while. And if you have, then DM me the word time on Instagram at tomhutchmove, because I've actually got something else for you which is going to help you kind of break through that plateau. Also stick around on this video because I'm going to talk about it briefly here as well to give you an idea of what the solution needs to look like. So the 3 steps in between the first 6 months and the first 1 year mark. First things first is having an optimized funnel. Next is a price increase. And after that is sales mastery. So let's go through the optimized funnel first. Now, what a lot of people don't realize when they're getting to 3 to 5K per month, they don't correctly identify the constraint of their business. And if you can't identify the constraint of the business, then you can't solve the right constraint. Therefore, the business won't grow. So what I basically mean by this, let's just pull up a pen here, is that sometimes people will be doing bottom of funnel activities. And what bottom of funnel activities are, pause for a second. Let me just explain this order of things. We have top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. This is your funnel. You drive attention through the top of the funnel, you nurture through the middle of the funnel, and then the bottom of the funnel is where you get people onto a call and you convert them into a client. So sometimes people will be trying to convert people into clients, set more calls into their calendar, but what they'll not realize is actually they don't have enough people to do that with. So they're desperately trying to message all of their Instagram followers. They're following up constantly. They've got like 10 follow-up messages to some of their leads, and it's just getting to the point where obviously their business can't grow. And it's just because they've not identified the fact that their bottleneck is their top of funnel. All right. Now, let's play out a different scenario, because actually that's quite uncommon, the one that I just gave. I just gave it as an example. The most common scenario that people face is actually that they're getting a lot of top of funnel engagement. Like they're getting new followers, which isn't that hard to do. Like you can brute force growth with getting more followers. It's pretty simple and easy. You just post content. You can do the follow for follow thing. You can get 10 to 20 followers per day relatively quickly. So that's fine. What a lot of people tend to do is they'll obsess over top of funnel and followers and views, and they'll never actually end up working on their middle of funnel or having a proper content ecosystem to appropriately warm their leads up and turn them into clients. So what ends up happening is they keep posting this top of funnel content, and their leads are kind of just sent round in this sort of cycle of never really getting warmed up enough to the point where they're going to become a real client or a real lead. Okay, so what needs to happen is middle of funnel content has to be present. I made another video on this. I'm not going to go in depth on this whole funnel thing. If you're looking at this and you're going, okay, I don't currently know the constraint of my business. I don't know if I have a top of funnel problem, a middle of funnel problem, or a bottom of funnel problem, then I'm going to link a video below this video, which you can go and watch to figure that out. It's just another video on this channel. So next is your price increase. Ultimately, if you don't have appropriate pricing for 10K per month, then it's not going to work. I'm not going to break down these prices because we've spoken about it on other videos as well. But ultimately, if you're charging £400 per month, that's going to be easy because you're going to need 25 clients. £400 per month might sound like a lot. You might be going, oh my God, no one's ever going to pay me that. Fine. Well, what you could do instead is you could charge £1,000 or £1,500 for 90 days People are more inclined to pay for a package than they are to, pay monthly in that way. They'll spend, £1,500 on a new car or a new bracelet or a new watch or a new bag or a holiday. Why would they not spend it on a life-changing transformation for themselves and getting that help from you? So it just depends on how you position it. The optimal price, in my opinion, is 1,500, to be honest, because then you need 7 clients per month. That's it. 7 clients per month, and you're good. Now, in order to obviously convert people at that, you don't have to. I've put sales mastery here, but you don't have to be a master at sales. You just have to be competent. You just have to be competent and be able to close. Now, this is like the non-leveraged way of doing things. Like, this is like the basics of it. We need to get this in place. Our client Gabe, he managed to hit his first 10K month. He was only with us for like 3 months. And I know that sounds like, okay, but this you're saying in 1 year. This happened in 3 months because we worked intensely with him to make sure that happened, like we do with many of our clients. So again, if you're getting help, it's going to move a lot faster than this. Okay, so consistent 5-figure months without having to do all of this outreach and daily content and all of the boring stuff and the non-leveraged, the unleveraged, if that's a word, stuff. What do we do next to get to the next stage where you're getting a consistent, 10, 15, 20K per month coming through the door? Well, it's pretty simple. We need to have ads, a content ecosystem, and you need to start to hire team members. So we'll start with ads. Ads, a lot of people go to run ads when they're trying to start their business, and it messes them up. They don't end up having success with them, and they end up just burning a lot of money. What I would recommend is if you want to run ads, because you probably understand that, okay, that's a way of speeding things up and growing the business faster and more intentionally and with more predictability, which you'd be right in thinking, I would make sure that you're getting help from myself or somebody else with your ads and getting somebody who knows what they're doing and has run it with, thousands of people, maybe not thousands of people, hundreds of people to see success. Just make sure that you're getting your information from good sources when it comes to ads. Again, we can help you with that. If you want help with ads, just DM me on Instagram with the word ads, and I'll actually break down how we can help you with it. That's absolutely fine. So ads, again, the reason why ads are important is because you'll then be able to calculate how much it costs you to acquire a customer. So for example, for us, to acquire a client on average, it costs us £260, which doesn't sound crazy considering we have, high ticket price points. So as you can imagine, we have like incredible predictability over our business and over our income, therefore giving us incredible control and predictability and freedom in our lives, in mine and my brother's and my team's life, which is a good feeling. Okay, that's obviously what we want. Next is a content ecosystem. The reason why we're able to get such a cheap cost per acquisition and a cheap cost per customer is because our content ecosystem does a really good job in warming people up to the point where they actually want to hand us over their finances in exchange for our services to help them grow their business. Our content ecosystem, if you look on my YouTube, that's essentially what this is. You might have even come from my ads onto this, which is then helping to, give you more information about what it is that we do and understand the process so that you can map out how it's going to look like if you are to work with us, right? And again, this is what you need to be doing with your content as well. What I am doing with this whole system and my whole business, you need to be doing with yours. I am demonstrating what is working for us in these videos and by showing you this. This is literally what we do. And then after that is a lean team. You don't need to go and hire like a creative director or a CFO or all these different like random roles that people seem to want to have. You don't need a video editor in-house or a videographer. Sure, those things can be helpful. Ideally, you just want a lean team. What that typically looks like would be you, an appointment setter, and a VA. You, setter, VA. A setter, for those of you who don't know, is somebody that goes into your DMs and does all of the outreachy, salesy stuff for you so that you're not the one having to do that yourself. And yeah, that is like literally it. And Tom got there. He did 13.6K. This was in his second month of us working together. In his second month of us working together, we placed a setter, and this was in January 2026. We placed a setter into his business, and we had everything else in place, and it just worked. In fact, he didn't even need to do ads. His organic was so strong that he didn't even need to do ads. But yeah, that is it, guys. That is the timeline. So hopefully you kind of know, all right, this is where I'm falling off. This is what I need to work on. And if you're a little bit unsure and you're like, I'm struggling to identify like what's actually wrong, definitely just reach out to us in the DMs on Instagram so that we can just, even if we just give you the simple answer, then at least gives you some form of next step, which you can then come back onto the channel, watch another video to get your next solution that you might need, or potentially work with us. But yeah, guys, subscribe if you found that valuable, and I shall see you in the next. Take care.